Hey guys, hey, so 2 videos in one day. I am in the middle of taking my medicine, so it has not hit me yet, which means that I am semi-lucid. um, so I thought I would talk about my surgery experiences since I've had quite a few now and the kind of difference in between them. I know several people who are having surgery this month. That have asked me several questions, and this is kind of like the easiest way for me to explain what goes on from at least my perspective. The date, once it's set, always goes a lot faster than you think it will. Like, you know, it seems like before you get your date, it just drags on and on and on. And then as soon as you have that date on your calendar, like, to me, it always seems like the next day. I'm like, oh, what? Okay, wow. So I'll start with my R&Y. You know, I'd had my tonsils out when I was 18, and I don't really remember much of it. So having my gastric bypass, that one was scary. Number one, I was 464 pounds, so I was exceedingly heavy. I was terrified that, you know, I would die on the table. That was the first and last time that, well, I can't say that, my gallbladder as well, but I was like 418 pounds when I had my gallbladder out. Those were the only 2 surgeries where I truly felt like I might not wake up from. So my experience was, you know, they take you in for processing. You get there at like 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever time they tell you to get in. If you're spending the night, you bring an overnight bag, and I've told you less is more in this situation because you're really not going to be fussing with it. So makeup and, you know, tons of stuff in your purse, and like, you know, except for chapstick and like slippers and, you know, maybe a robe, some Chloraseptic and some throat lozenges. Like, you really don't need anything the hospital doesn't already provide. Depending on how long you're having to stay. Now, if you want to bring your shampoo and conditioner, but to be honest with you, you're not going to feel all that great, so you're not going to want to detail shower yourself until you probably get home to your own shower. They give you dry shampoo and like conditioner and all kinds of little bottle things that you get to take home anyway. So, I mean, you will have like a little toothbrush and stuff like that. So they check you in. And then they get you undressed, and you put on your gown and your socks, and then they come in and put the little blow up booties on you, which go on your legs to help you with circulation while you're under. So it you know, and it expands and lets go, and so it's tightening and letting go of for the circulation in your legs while you're in surgery and while you're laying in the bed. They ask you a whole bunch of questions. You know, do you feel safe at home? Are you depressed? You know, why are you having surgery? Who are you? Give me your date. Who am I supposed to call? And then they start your IV. So normally a nurse will set your IV, or nurse's assistant will set your IV. In my personal life, I have found that letting anybody else besides the anesthetist, the anesthesiologist, to do my IVs is a big mistake. That's me. I know I'm a hard stick. I know that I have a lot of layers of fat, and, you know, I need somebody who has their mind on the bullseye. And also the anesthesiologist will also have lidocaine. So if you're really scared of needles and you would rather them not dig around for your veins without it being numb, they can actually numb that for you. So, you know, after they're done putting in your IV, they'll come and talk to you, kind of keep you company. Your doctor will come by. He'll tell you, oh, you know, so you're ready for the, you know, he'll be like, okay, well, you know, we're going to take you back here in a few minutes, and do you have any other questions for me? Just kind of a last formality. You know, giving you one last chance to kind of back out of it in case this is not what you want. Just making sure that, you know, you're all there today. And then the anesthesiologist that's working on your case will come over, and he will give you said happy juice. Once the cocktail, which is what they call it, happens you really don't remember a whole hell of a lot afterwards. Like, you know, they give it to you, and then all of a sudden everything is happy and shiny and beautiful, and life could not get any better because you just don't care. Like, they could be, you know, pulling out your spleen and you just don't care. Which I always have, you know, I'm always ready for the happy juice because my anxiety is always high. Now, for people who have a lot of anxiety, to be honest with you, you can ask for Ativan, or you can ask for, you know, whatever, Xanax and stuff like that if you really need it. But they try to get you to wait for the happy juice because that's just another thing that they have to worry about, you know, giving you. So if you can hold off, they really don't want to give that to you until you're right about to go back. And the reason they do that is so you don't see the operating room. Because, you know, there's 10 people in there, you know, or more. There's all these shiny instruments and tons of things, and you know, it's very clean, very white and pristine in there, and it's very clinical, and it's scary. So I actually, on my panaculectomy, they forgot to give it to me until I was actually in the room. And so I saw that for the first time. So that's the first time I actually saw and remember seeing the operating room. And I saw tables like lined up against the wall and all these people in scrubs and, you know, all of their backs to me. And it was like super duper scary. Even though I know I was in wonderful hands, seeing that right before, you know, I was put out scared the hell out of me. So with the cocktail, you are semi-awake. That means that they can ask you questions. You will answer them. If they tell you to do something, you're kind of on autopilot. Your brain's minimally awake, but you're not going to remember it. It's like anesthesia that gives you amnesia. So they can do stuff for you and help you, but you're not really going to remember it. Recovery is always the worst thing for me because you are waking up after being in a lot of pain, and, you know, my brain doesn't really wake up until like 2 or 3 hours after I've had it. So, you know, they can be asking me all kinds of questions and I'm not going to know what the hell they've asked me until I'm actually awake. So this last time I had, when they took the band out, the nurse that I had, I didn't particularly care for. She was very pokey and proddy, and she was very loud and evasive, and instead of, like, you know, sweet like I've had before, where, Nirvana, are you okay? How much pain are you in? She was, you know, she was just very harsh, and it woke me up in a way that I was like panicking because I didn't understand her, and, you know, she was very demanding and I didn't like it. So you know, if you have an issue like that, it's best to talk to somebody about your case beforehand and let them know that you want, you know, that you would like a more caring and soft and gentle nurse to take care of you afterwards, because they're going to be with you until you leave. So, you know, they do kind of help everybody out while they're there, but there's usually one specific person that comes in there and is trying to wake you up and get you to the bathroom and, you know, giving you pain medication and stuff like that. So if you know for a fact that you're going to need somebody who's like, you know, extra caring and like really soft-spoken and stuff like that, you can ask for that, and depending on when you come out, if that person's available, they can probably get them for you, or switch with somebody else. But usually they don't assign a nurse to you until you're in recovery anyway. So next time when I go in for my distal in a couple months, I'm definitely going to mention the fact that I didn't like the last nurse. It made my experience more stressed out, and that I would like somebody different if she's going to be in there that morning. Nothing against her, but I know me, and I know that I will be much happier if I don't have to deal with somebody like being in my face and like freaking me out. So managing your pain, usually they ask you what's an acceptable level of pain that you're willing to accept. Most people say 4 or 5. You know, when you're waking up from not having any pain to having, you know, serious pain, you know, you're probably at like an 8. and then they're trying to get you down to an acceptable level of like 4 or 5. So, you know, you got to really be patient with that, because it's not an immediate thing that they can do, because the amount of pain medication, they can only give you so much, and they can only give you so many different kinds. And then they have to run it by your surgeon or your doctor, and he might be in surgery again, so they have to find somebody else. So you really got to be patient in there. And my surgery, my surgical clinic that you know I've been going to for the last 3 of mine, do not allow people in the recovery area. So I didn't even get to see Matthew until they were like letting me go home. So I had no clue, you know, how long I'd been in recovery or what time it was, or I was just barely waking up. So my surgery experiences are a little bit different, because I also typically try to get the PICC line put in. Now, if you've never had a PICC line, up in the top here will be a little boop, like up here, that will say suggest a video to you, and it'll show you me pulling out the PICC line. Well, not me, but the nurse pulling out my PICC line from my pediculectomy. The reason I get a PICC line is because I have terrible veins, and I know that if I'm going to stay in the hospital a couple of days, I do not want them stabbing me 15 times to take blood or check my sugar or give me a different kind of medicine. So a PICC line goes up in your artery. It goes through your artery and sits on top of your heart, where it can give you medicine, or, you know, and there's 2 prongs to it. So one's for medicine, the other one's for blood. So they can pull blood out of that for you. They can put in medicine and stuff for you. And that's typically what I like. But there's a huge risk to having a PICC line. Having a PICC line can actually, you can get infections from it. It's actually a procedure that, you know, they take and do for you. They have to catheter your vein all the way and like sit it in front of you. So that's not something to do lightly. The only reason I started getting them was because I would get so dehydrated after my surgeries, or like right before my surgeries. I would get scared, and then my veins would close up, and it would be almost impossible for them to get a regular IV in me, or my IVs would constantly blow. So for me, having that was a peace of mind, and knowing that I wasn't going to get stabbed 50 times while I was in the hospital also gave me a peace of mind. So I've had 3 of them. I had one with my gastric bypass. I had one with my, I want to say I did not have, no, I didn't have it with my gallbladder. I had one, I had 3. So I had one with my pediculectomy. I had one with my R&Y. And then I want to say, man, oh man. Maybe I've had 3. I think I did have it with my gallbladder, and I'm just not remembering. Yeah, I did. I had it with my gallbladder as well, because they brought me in that morning and put it in. Okay, so yeah, I've had 3 PICC lines, and I prefer that over anything else. They also have central lines where they can put in your neck, or they can go, there's all kinds of stuff they can do if they cannot find a vein. So that's something you might want to talk to your doctor about, you know, whether or not you think that you're going to be in there for a while, or you've had some kind of complications and your veins start blowing all the time. Taking certain kinds of antibiotics can actually blow your vein, which means that they would have to find another one, because it's super concentrated, and like it just really depends. I hope these small little videos here while I'm thinking about them, since this is all kind of fresh in my head, are helping, because I get a lot of the same questions, and I was just thinking, well, this is kind of, you know, updating everything. So, you know, so I had my tonsils taken out. I had my R&Y in 2013. I had my gallbladder in 2013. 2015, I had my lap band put in. 2015, I had my pediculectomy. In 2016, I had my band removed. And then the fall of 2016, I will have the distal bypass. So pretty much over the last 3 years, I have had, 2 surgeries a year. Skipping 2014, didn't have anything done then, but, hopefully this is my last one for a very long time, because the only other thing I'm going to get done is once I hit goal, my goal, not their goal, is that I'm going to get my arms fixed, because I got too much meat to deal with it. Anything else? So, yeah, just don't be stressed. Don't freak out. The medicine now is ridiculous compared to when, your mom and dad were having surgery way back in the day. Like, dying on the table, there are so many more options. There's so many things that you're able to, like medicines and techniques that they have learned. So being scared that you're going to die on the table isn't really a super concern anymore. So I feel completely and totally at ease with my surgeon, knowing that if something did happen to me, he would be like right on it, and I have a really good team working on me, and that they would not give up on me if something happened. So when you're searching for a surgeon, you always want to find somebody you can relate with, somebody who makes you feel like more than a number, somebody who you can kind of joke with and you think that actually cares about you. I think that is the biggest thing, is that you want to find somebody who, cares about you as a person instead of like patient, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. So those are my surgical experiences. The only other thing I can really talk about is your pain medicine, like the pump and stuff like that. They want to get you off of that as soon as possible, just mainly so they can control your medication with oral medications. I prefer liquid roxycodone because, number one, it hits really fast, and it's easier for me to digest than a pill because I have to wait for the pill to actually hit. You can always crush it, but, some of these are timed release, and I don't know what your doctor wants, but I like to take the liquid Roxy, and for the last 3 surgeries, it has worked really well for me. Excuse me. And, yeah. So, a funny story, I know I've got a lot to talk about today. A funny story is that yesterday I was measuring out my medicine, and I actually dropped the bottle of liquid Roxy all over the floor, and I couldn't get down fast enough because I had surgery on my stomach to pick it up, so over half the bottle spilled out all over my floor. And of course my dogs follow me everywhere, so like Yuki's in it, she's like dancing in it and like running through the kitchen. I'm like, Lord Jesus, please help me. And Saki's like looking at it, and I knew that I had to get this up and get that washed off my dog's paws, and I was freaking out, and like it was really hurting me to get down on all fours to clean that up because it was a big ass mess. So if you have a caretaker, I would say let them do that, but for me, unfortunately, this time I'm kind of alone. Matthew is sleeping during the day because he has to work, and my mother-in-law has gone home, so that leaves me to my own devices of, well, that sucks, Nirvana, but you got to do it, to kind of fend for myself. Yeah, they want to get you off that pump as soon as possible so they can get you on your oral meds and make sure that they have those in check before you leave. So I would, I know that a lot of people get scared of them taking that pump out, but it's for your best benefit. That way you can go home, because as long as you have that pain pump in there, they can't control your levels with what they're sending you home with. So that might be something else. All right, guys, I have rambled on forever as per usual. I'm about to take my medicine. That's why I'm so lucid. And I'm voting today. I'm going to vote. I love your beautiful, gorgeous, amazing faces, and I hope everybody's doing all right. Today is 4 days post-op band removal, and I will talk to you soon. Mwah. Bye.